Welcome back to another video where we're going to be discussing exam type questions on Trig. So this is a very good exam type question that has quite a few of all the types of questions that you can get with the drawing and interpreting of the sine and cosine graphs, or in this specific one is the sine and the cosine graph. So let's quickly look at this question. It says, neatly indicating all intercepts and turning points, sketch the graphs of f of x is equal to sine x plus 2 and g of x is equal to 2 cos x for x is an element of 0 to 360. So starting point at 0, end at 360, and I'm somewhere going to, if I look at this graph given, I'm going to do it in increments or steps of 30 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to quickly plot it down, and then we're going to look at the questions to follow. So again, you're going to whip out your calculator, mode, setup, table. You can put both graphs in at the same time. I like to do the one, finish it, and then move on and do the next one. So it's up to you, and just please don't get confused with the coordinates that gets given in your calculator. All right, so let's quickly draw the two graphs. All right, so there's my two graphs drawn. The pink graph is f of x. It's a sine graph. As it goes up, it reaches its maximum point over there, goes down, reaches its minimum point over there, and ending there at 362. All right, 362 as a coordinate. Then if you look at the cosine graph, the 2 cos x, it goes like a bowl, and the minimum point there is 180 negative 2, and it goes through 90 0 and 270 0. So please remember to indicate or label those coordinates that are very, very important, that play a vital role in how we're going to read these two graphs, how we're going to interpret these two graphs, and also do them in two different colors. Please highlight them, make them stand out so that you can really see what is going on. All right, so let's quickly answer the questions that is asked here. So I've drawn my two graphs, I've labeled my vital turning points, my x-intercepts, and now let's have a look. It says, use the graph to answer the following questions. What is the period of f of x? So very nicely, I can see f of x is the sine graph, and the period for sine and cosine is always 360 degrees. What is the range of g of x? So if I had to put a ping pong ball here, you can see it's going to range from minimum, which is negative 2, all the way up to 2. So you're going to say y is an element of square brackets. Let me just do that very nicely. Negative 2 all the way to 2. Write down the amplitude of g of x. It's 2 because it's 2 cos x. Write down the coordinates of the minimum and the maximum turning point of f of x. F of x is the sine graph. Here is my maximum turning point, and over here is my minimum turning point. And luckily, I already wrote it down, so I can just go and rewrite it. And very important, they ask you to write it down as a coordinate. Okay, so it's going to be 90 and 3. That would be your maximum, and your minimum would be 271. Okay, that's your max, that's your minimum. The graph of f moved 3 units down. Write down the new equation. So they didn't tell me to name it anything else, so I'm going to keep it as f of x. So the graph of f of x was sine x plus 2. The original was sine x plus 2. Just want to make double sure, sine x plus 2, and they say to you, please move it 3 units down. So we're going to minus 3 at the back here. So the new equation for graph f of x would be sine x, and 2 minus 3 gives you negative 1. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Remember, the shifting happens here at the back. The vertical stretch happens there where the amplitude is. All right, for which values of x is g of x decreasing? So g of x is the orange graph. So can you see it's decreasing here from 0? For which values of x now? From 0 all the way to 180. And then it starts increasing from there. Sorry, doesn't look so nice. Okay, so the decreasing happens from 0 to 180, this part over here, because it's going down over there. So you're going to say x is an element of 0 to 180. And I do not include them. Why? Because they say to you it is decreasing. So at that point, it is standing still. Then just after 0, it starts decreasing. So that's why, do you see, we're not going to include that 0. And right here at 180, for a split second, it stops and then it starts increasing. So that's why those two endings for the x values is not going to be included. Then they say to you, for which values of x is f of x increasing? So f of x increasing, it's this blue. Let me just get another pinkish. So f of x, where is it? Sorry, increasing. So can you see it's going up, 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 stops, all the way down, and then from there it goes up, up, up again. So it's here from 270 up to 360, the x values. And as well from 0 to 90. So from here to here, which is 0 to 90. So it increases going down and then it increases again. So you're going to write x is an element of 0 to 90, as well as x is an element of, just want to make sure, 0 to 90 and 270 to 360. So again, am I going to include it? No, because increasing and decreasing, it starts from a stopping point, from a point where the ball or whatever you do this in real life situations is standing still. And then it goes up, increasing. So that's why that starting point we never ever include. All right, for which values of x, number 8 over here, for which values of x is g of x smaller than 0? So g of x, where is it smaller than 0? So if you just focus on the orange graph, where is it below the ocean line? So if I take the x-axis, remember, if that is my ocean line, my horizon, my sticking out from above the water. So where is it below the sea? Can you see this part is where it is under the sea? I'm going to start singing again. From 90 to 270. Okay, so x is an element from 90 to 270. Why do I do round brackets? Because it just said smaller than and not including. It didn't have that stripey underneath. If it had the stripey, it would be square brackets. Okay, number 9. For which values of x is g of x equal to 0? So g of x, where is it touching the 0? So over there and over there. So where's the y 0? Remember, g of x is the y value. Where is it equal to 0? So over there and over there. So where x is 90 and where x is 270. Okay. Number 10, write down the equation of k of x. So they're just asking you, write down another equation for another graph. Let's call it k. Okay, it could have been m, it could have been l. They called it k. If g of x has been reflected upon the x-axis. So I like to always write the original first, or before I start. G of x is equal to 2 cos x. So I'm going to write it here. G of x is equal to 2 cos x. And they're asking you to reflect it upon the x-axis to make k of x. So reflection, remember, the whole part over here gets a negative in front. So k of x will be equal to negative 2 cos x. All right, and there's your answer. Let's highlight it like that. Okay, number 11. If h of x is equal to negative sine x minus 4, describe the transformation that took place to get from f of x to h of x. So again, let me go and write down f of x just go see what it was given as. F of x is sine x plus 2. Okay, so you can definitely see that there's been a reflection. So if I had to reflect it, it will look like this. F of x is equal to negative sine x plus 2. The negative goes in front because if you reflect upon the x-axis, the y must change. So the y is the whole of f of x, not just the x value. So the whole equation there should get a negative in front. So it will be negative sine x minus 2. But then we took it to a negative 4. So it's been reflected and then moved down with 2 units. Okay, so I'm going to write here, it's reflected upon the x-axis and moved down with 2 units. Because how did I get from negative 2 to negative 4? I had to subtract another 2, which means it moved down with 2 units. Last one, write down the equation of m of x if g of x, so they're talking about g of x, which has an equation of 2 cos x. Let me just make sure, the original 2 cos x, yes, that's right. Write down the equation of m of x if g of x has been stretched vertically with a factor of 2. So that one has to be multiplied with 2, which is 4 cos x. And it has, has been stretched vertically with a factor of 2 and shifted up with 3 units. So plus 0, because there was nothing at the back, now we have to add 3. So m of x will be equal to 4 cos x plus 3. All right, and that would always be 2 marks over there. Here as well, a negative, and then shifting up and down for 2 marks. All right, I hope that helped. The next video that I'll make is a video on the tangent, where we throw a bit of tangent in between with the sine and the cosine. And then the last video on trig graphs will be how to find the equations when a graph has been drawn or given to you. All right, so look out for those. Thank you so much for watching grade 10s and hope you have a wonderful day further. Thanks, bye.